you were on a podcast just recently. We talked a lot about systems thinking, and specifically like as individuals and also as organizations. And I don't think people. I I went through a systems thinking class in an MBA, which was fascinating, but it's not a topic that I could say an expert in. I'm learning more about it. So because this is something you're passionate about, like for someone who's either building out their own AI agents, their own workflow, or an organization doing it more across orgs, what are the principles around system thinking that you say are like critical to make sure you can really fully leverage agents to the fullest capacity?
Yeah. So and I'll give you a slightly different answer for if you're building it yourself versus if you're an
Sure.
enterprise adopting
Yeah.
platforms. And so for the to the point of when they're like building things themselves, like if I went back in time to myself like 3 years ago, I would say, hey, make sure that the very first version you start to build agentically. Like, and by that I mean that not just consider AI to be like a one-shot thing, like an AI model that like returns something, but to have it the AI grow in how it can orchestrate the workflow. And so like there's a lot of great agentic frameworks out there, and I think like any of them are good. But
Right.
basically allowing your development process and allowing that the way you think about things to be like, oh, this is not as accurate as I want, or it's not doing the thing I want. I know I'll have the
Right.
AI do 2 steps instead of one, or 3 steps, or 4 steps, and then to be able to switch out models, take advantage of these capabilities, like reasoning models and models that put out structured content and models that can do multimodality. Those were things that weren't obviously clear to 3 years ago what's going to happen.
Right.
And
Right.
so then what we had to do along the way was retrofit our whole system to not just have a bunch of functions and a bunch of processes together that like tried to get the data in a format to give to an AI model, but rather have a
Mhm.
true agentic system that could traverse workflows. And in doing that actually helps us a ton to be able to do things like just adapt to the latest capabilities. Because there's a funny thing that happens where like it seems like now
Yeah.
almost every 2 weeks, like the what is the best model in the world just becomes something else. I don't know, it's Gemini, or it's the new OpenAI model, it's the new Anthropic model. But like at some point, they became able to do something that wasn't really possible, like not even that long ago, 6 months. And then so
Right.
you just need to have the ability to then say quickly, well, now that that's possible, I'm going to then be able to provide that use case and not have it be a bunch of development work to be able to turn around and release it. See, this idea of platform agentic thinking is something that I would encourage not just ISVs to do when they're thinking about like an AI first or an AI native capability, but then
Mhm.
also companies to when they're thinking about their data and their platforms and how they do things, like make sure that everybody you work with is thinking, they say they talk AI first, they think AI first, they're able to provide you functionality as AI first, because everything's evolving so fast that you're almost just rather than betting on any one like AI technology or any one AI use case, you're almost betting on
Yeah.
people and platforms that are like able to express that for you according to your enterprise and needs.
Awesome. So for the individual, again, this whole topic around systems thinking, not just from a technology standpoint, but just like there's a difference between process thinking and then systems, right? So what would be like some takeaways? What would be the top, I don't know, one, three, or five, you pick, takeaways around how do I build system thinking so I can really leverage agentic workflows?
Um, it's a good question. I think the some of this would be to enable platforms that can do capabilities and then build use
Right.
cases on top of those. Build in security and compliance from the beginning, so you don't have to go retrofit it afterwards.
Mhm.
And then also, to continue to experiment on enabling people across the board to utilize to quickly use AI in different ways. Like, so these are the kind of
Yeah.
things that I think are the most important as you consider like different aspects of how your company or how your enterprise will be able to
Right.
utilize AI in the future.
I'm curious. I'm now going to ask you a personal question, if you don't mind me asking you to divulge. What is the either most advanced agent that you personally use, whether it's personally or professionally? And then what does your team use that you would be like, this is so awesome? What is that thing?
Um, I will give you an answer, which is that I continue to almost every day be impressed as to how many things you can do that you can represent as a little agentic workflow. And so
Yeah.
this is like a revelation that like these little state diagrams that you like sometimes see in these academic papers or that you maybe learn in school or whatever, which is like do
Yeah.
this and a branch here or whatever, like because everybody's aware that like AI can do this one thing, and then maybe they're even aware it could do like
Right.
3 steps. But then if you have AI like coordinate those 3 steps, like it's weird. Is like there's suddenly stops to be like introduce tools so they can go get and change things, and suddenly you're like, huh. this can do an awful lot of things, like to the point of like, you start to see the promise of AI, how it can work in the enterprise is by constructing these little
Mhm.
workflows. Now, today they're not the easiest thing to build. They can go wrong, they can get distracted and so on. So this is why you spend time and effort to like get them to focus and to actually solve the problem at hand. But that like across multiple vendors, across multiple technologies, across everything is like rapidly getting better. So I kind of foresee a world where the thing that's like stopping you as an enterprise or as a person from getting something done with AI is your ability to explain precisely what you're looking for. And then that's something I think people kind of pick up over time,
Yeah.
or they have nice templates that come from companies like Box or others. And so I see that as sort of the thing that continues to fascinate me and takes my focus like almost every day.
What's funny is that as I teach AI to different people at university level and just my kids, I'm always fascinated by how AI forces you to be a better communicator, like you said, with context or just instructions. It makes me be very self-reflective of like how am I communicating to get what I need to get, you know?
Yeah.
One last thing is because you're a very unique spot, kind of talking about the future of AI and what you think you should prepare for. You talked about how if you could go back 3 years, like what do you project your 3 year person ahead of you is going to come back and tell you? I was like, this is what you need to prep for. What do you think is coming?
My best guess would be that that for the kind of our customer set that we have, is that we not only need to provide to them the basic building blocks so that they could then orchestrate whatever they want themselves on their content, but then
Yeah,
also provide to them predefined templates that would help them get sort of most of the way there. Like, and so many of the like more advanced use cases that our customers are asking for today, we're like, we could totally build that. We have state diagrams and workflows and all these great things and a secure way to access your data. But and then we can, and we have like, SIs or consultants or whatever. But at some point, it maybe is for us to like give them something that's mostly there so they can customize it to go forward. And so you get to the point where like you basically make enterprise IT people able to accomplish a lot more without having to go too far down the stack to figure out how everything works.
yeah. Do you see where I'm going to ask one more question? Sorry, Julia. Do you see a world where OpenAI talked about the 5 levels of where we're going to go, and one is the organizational agent type thing? I mean, I see Box being a platform that could like essentially enable that. Do you see that kind of world coming?
Yeah, I think like there's definitely an interesting world as you get not only like these platforms and these agent capabilities, but as they roll up into like almost any like individual workflow that's complicated can be rolled up into a bigger agent. So like at some point you might have these like very high level agents that are able to do an awful lot in drawing upon different systems like Box or different other agents. And like I think that is
Yeah.
definitely something that we would be seeing.